Today, I'm sharing some of the most effective ways to improve and maintain your mental health every day. And in fact, that's the first one. Good mental health is a daily practice, because if you don't look after your mental health, who will? And I'm sorry to have to break this to you, but there are no days off. Why? Because improving your mental health takes time, effort, and perseverance. So if you put in the time and effort every day to proactively manage your mental well-being, and you stick to it, you'll find that over time, that adds up to deliver great results. If you just wait until there's a problem, you'll often find it takes much more work to resolve the problem. So please be proactive and make both your physical and mental well-being a priority every single day. Okay, next, there are no quick fixes, because I may as well just get the tough message over and done with up front. There are no magic pills that you can take or miracle cures that will fix mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, etc. There just aren't. Even many medications come with side effects that can make the situation more challenging or make it difficult in a different way. The thing about the way that we cope with things is that there are unhealthy coping mechanisms, and most so-called quick fixes fall into that category. For example, ignoring or suppressing feelings of stress and anxiety can often lead to the situation becoming much worse in the long run. So the healthy way to approach it is to deal with issues early. Why? Well, that's my next point. Prevention is better than cure. And if you're already dealing with mental health issues, you might be thinking, well, that's great, but I can't go back in time and prevent what I already have. And fair point. Obviously, you're not a time traveler. But what you can do is put in the effort every single day to address your current situation and prevent your condition from deteriorating further. Think of it the same way as your physical health. If you look after your body every day and are mindful of what you consume, you tend to have better physical health. Well, your mental health is the same, which actually leads to my next point. Good mental health is a combination of self-management and external support, because nobody can do the work for you since it's your mental health. And so therefore you need to be the one in the driver's seat. But at the same time, if you're dealing with challenges on your own and you're not seeing a lot of progress, then it's probably time to think about getting external support from a professional like a counselor or therapist. I am a fan of balance in all things as a general approach to life. And I find that having an external support system to guide me as I take action myself allows me to be much more strategic and thoughtful about what I'm doing, and more mindful of what is working versus what isn't. You could see a professional one-on-one, or you could find a support group if that works better for you. Look, I'm not saying that external support is the answer for everyone, but it's definitely worthwhile considering if you don't feel like you're making progress. And that leads into my next point. Prioritize daily self-care. And by self-care, I simply mean doing things to recharge your batteries daily. Self-care often gets a bit of a reputation as being all bubble baths and a cheeky cookie or two, but it's actually more about making time for yourself. I know this is a cliche to say, but your phone needs to be recharged, and so do you. Make time every day to do things that you enjoy. Go outside for a walk, read, write, create, sing, dance. There are thousands, if not millions, of different options. So choose what is right for you. But the main thing is to do something every single day, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, because it's part of the whole prevention is better than cure thing that I talk about a lot in my work. Let me just say here that if it feels indulgent or not a priority, consider this. If you don't look after yourself and replenish your own energy, who will? Because I can guarantee you that nobody is going to do it for you. It starts and ends with you. If you want to have the physical and emotional strength to show up for the people you care about and for what matters most to you in life, then you need to be able to recharge your own batteries and prioritize that on a regular basis. End of sentence. So my next point is related to that, and it is know your priorities and focus on them. And by priorities, I mean not just at work, but in life generally. Make what matters most to you the core of what you do and don't do. There are only 24 hours in a day, and hopefully you're using some of them for quality sleep. If not, please do. So your time needs to be consciously approached. My philosophy on this is that if it doesn't matter in terms of the main 5 priorities in my life, I let it go. You don't have to say yes to everything, and nor should you. There are always going to be demands for your time and attention. However, you need to be clear on what you will and will not take on board. Which leads quite nicely into my next point. Set and maintain healthy boundaries. And who knew I was going to talk about this one? Oh, that's right. Anyone who's ever watched one of my videos or listened to one of my podcast episodes, because I talk about boundaries a lot. Boundaries are simply about being crystal clear on what you will and will not accept, and then setting and maintaining limits. You can do that with kindness while still being assertive. And I talked about assertiveness in this video and boundaries in this video, and you'll find both of those linked in the episode description down below. And so once you set a boundary, it's then up to you to maintain it, because unless you stick to it, a boundary is just an imaginary line. Next, focus on what is within your direct control. Many of the things that we worry about are completely outside of our direct control. Will it rain on the weekend when you're planning a barbecue? Maybe. Unless you've developed superpowers that I don't know about, you have no control over that. It's the same with other people. You cannot control them. And when you accept that fact, and I mean fully accept that fact, it makes it so much easier to let go of the things that are outside of your control. All you can ever control is yourself and what you choose to do and say. You can influence other people and events, but you cannot control them. When you accept that fact, it makes life far simpler. And speaking of simplicity, that leads to my next point, embrace simplicity. And I'm not saying that you need to go all Marie Kondo and clear out your entire house, or your life for that matter, but I really do encourage you to adopt a simple is best mindset and consider how you can remove complications from your life, or at least reduce them. And you're very welcome to substitute the word drama for complications there, because simplicity is a life free from unnecessary drama. Let me be clear and say that stuff will always happen, because you cannot control other people or the circumstances of life and the world in general, but you don't have to take an active role in drama. I have made it a personal goal in life to stay as far away from drama as possible and to embrace simplicity as much as I practically can. And those two choices have made an enormous difference. Yes, that has meant that I have had to let go of a lot of relationships, but that's just an unavoidable part of growth. And speaking of simplicity, watch this video next, where I talk about how to completely change your life by embracing simplicity. And catch my weekly podcast, Let's Talk About Mental Health, for even more advice. You'll find it linked in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me, take care, and talk to you next time.